What is going on, guys? GemWorks here, and welcome back to the channel. I recently finished Donkey Kong Bananza, and I have to say, it was astounding. If you haven't played it yet, definitely recommend stopping what you're doing and going to play it right now. But I loved it so much that I wanted to make a Bananza Donkey Kong model and have Pauline on his back. So without further ado, let me show you how I did it. Alright, ladies and gents, let's get started here. I'm sure at this point, you're probably noticing the trend that a lot of these cartoony figures involve a lot of spheres. And thus you're probably sick of me using that word. I certainly wouldn't blame you. But you sure as hell better get used to it, because it is fundamental to these characters' designs. As I hope you can tell by this point, we are starting with Donkey Kong. Now this was one of the more fun sculpts I've done in a while, and it involved a series of unique challenges, as it was an interesting blend of hard cut edges with soft shapes. Pay close attention here. I was very proud of myself with the way that I designed the teeth and the mouth. You'll see that I created a gap with his jowls, and then I made an array using softened cubes, and then I inverted the set to make the full set of chompers, and then I used spheres and warped them to make the gums. Now it looks like an old lady's freaky set of dentures. But once it's put into the jowls, it's not so bad. Now we started the block out for the feet. I got a funny story about this one. Now, you know that an ape's feet are similar to human hands, and you can see that I'm on the right track here, but then I decided to add a sixth toe. So right now I got the full set of feet, or full set of toes that look like a person's, and then we decided to add a thumb. So now he's got mutant feet. Now, come on now, let's not get crazy. But anyway, you're gonna see that I noticed the additional toe much later in the editing. And I asked my girlfriend, what looks off about this foot? And she looked at it for a little while, and then it hit her. We both shared a laugh, and then I made the edit. But anyway, here's the base model. And what we're gonna do now is begin refining the pose, just little adjustments to make him look like he's doing a dynamic punch. Really taking advantage of the power of the Bananza form. We added some fur and additional details. And now it's time to begin Pauline. Making anime-like faces in 3D is always pretty interesting. Usually involves big rounded foreheads with lower cheeks and a pointy nose. The thing that makes it a bit challenging is that the eyes are not sphered. You gotta flatten them out and have them fill the depression in the face, and then add the supporting features. Hair is always gonna look a bit jank when you first start, but I promise you, just like with any other sculpture you're gonna make, or any piece of art for that matter, just keep pressing on. Even here, we added the two little tufts of hair that point outward in front of Pauline's head, and then combed her hair back and added the little points, and it looks a hell of a lot better. Now we're doing the block out of her body, and that's primarily going to consist of more basic shapes, so chest, torso, and pelvis. And we're going to add big blocky tubes for the jeans and cuff them at the bottom. Now it's a matter of adding the arms, and everyone's favorite, the hands. Every artist has strengths and weaknesses. I personally enjoy working on hands, even if I'm not perfect at it. I just find them to be super satisfying, and you could use your own hand as reference. Never be afraid to be a freak and look at your own hand while you're drawing or sculpting your model's hand. Of course, we gotta add the little tuft of hair, and that is Pauline's base. There's her smile! And now we're gonna pose her so that she's practically flying off of the enraged DK. As mentioned before, I told you that very late I saw that there was indeed an extra toe. So I basically took his foot, put on the chopping block, and got rid of that last little digit. Using the smooth tool, I cleaned up the foot, and now it looks good as new. We added the little details on Pauline, and we set DK on top of his favorite triple Banandium gem. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This is the base model. With a couple of adjustments, this would be print ready, and I would love to see this in actual model form. But as it stands, it's pretty balanced, and I am a big fan of the composition. Of course, no model is finished without some paint. As you could probably tell, I have a pretty straightforward approach to my painting. I generally just use a color picker and select from various reference images. I'll use base colors and then add highlights and shadows, adjusting the hue appropriately to make the colors pop as much as I could. I was telling my girlfriend I'm not a huge fan of coloring. Ever since I was a kid, was never super good at it. And to be honest, it is not super high priority for me, though I recognize that is an Achilles heel and I absolutely would like to improve. For now though, we're just trying to be serviceable and make sure that we capture the colors that we see on our beloved models. And even still, it's undeniable that adding this brings the finished piece to life. And there you have it, ladies and gents. The finished piece of Kong Bananza, Donkey Kong, and Pauline. Really happy with the way that this guy turned out. I was a little bit afraid of the fur and just the overall dynamics of how the sculpt was going to work. But overall, I gotta say that I am very pleased. I think that this is gonna make for a wonderful piece once it's finally printed and painted. But of course, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you like? What do you not like? What could be done better? And what was done well? I hope that this little breakdown was helpful for you. And definitely let me know what you'd like to see next. I appreciate you guys sticking around towards the end. And believe me, there's more to come. Stay tuned.